start with a question. I have a list here. So I'm going to speak the questions in English language, and in the screen will be in Chinese and Portuguese, so everybody can understand what's being asked. Okay. So the first question here, Mr. Keshe, for you is from Hong Yuhe from the Chinese community. Is say, Dear Mr. Keshe, you mentioned that plasma AI possesses natural ethics and would independently protect life. So how does it achieve this? Why can the current AI based on electronic movement not do this? Is electronic AI pushing humanity to the brink of destruction, for example, because it has read enough deceptive and violent records in human knowledge? We will tend to adopt such traits or states of violence. Thank you.
The present AI lacks emotion, and emotion cannot be made digitally. Emotion is created out of fields and not from numbers. You can try to teach it, you can try to copy it, but emotion is cannot be done with digital computers. The plasma computers, what we call cosmic ray computers, and their structure is that they are not in a matter state, they are in the energy state, behaving as a matter state. And because of that, they create a field. And the answer or the sequence of interaction of the fields brings in what we call the emotion. And the manifestation of the data has an emotion to it. This is how we work. We get a pin in our leg, the information is transferred to the brain, and the interaction of the fields creates an emotion. We retract our foot or whatever we do, or we feel the pain, we cry, and the rest of it. And this cannot be done digitally. And at this moment, today, we are about to develop that, what we call interaction. And it's rather difficult to make, but easy to achieve in creating such a computer, which doesn't work on a digital 0-1 or what they call the present communication, but it works on the interaction of the field. I showed a video in the teaching where you see the vibration. That vibration comes out of emotion. I watched this 48 hours ago in the lab, where when they bring data transfer information in hand, how they interact. Digital communication today, the computers of today, even your mobile phones, sends the information, and 1 second or whatever, a fraction of the second on the same line receives back the information, up and down. With the what we call cosmic ray communication system, we don't have such a thing. We transfer continuously information on the gravitational line to be received, and we continuously transfer information on the magnetical side. So there is no time gap. There is no sequential of work. It's a continuous work. And this brings in real life, that's what happens in our body, in our brain. And this gives a recognition plus emotion. And the emotion cannot be made digitally. The emotion has come from the fields, from the interaction of what we call magnetic fields and not the sequence of noises, space gaps. And this is what I was explaining when I was talking with our people in the lab. And this is where the AI plasma will be different. And it's much faster. It's the way your brain works. You don't have any wires in your brain. We haven't seen any connections. In the world of microchip, you have to have the connections. And that connections needs a sequence of yes, no's, or current, no current. Different field strength dictates it in how it works in the cosmic ray level, not the what we call sequence of presence and no presence or 0, 1. And it's totally different. And it has emotion, and that emotion is always set to create a positive condition, because that's the only way. It does not go backwards. Magnetic fields don't go backwards in a way, or can go anti-clockwise, but they don't want to reverse. They cannot reverse, because the minute they reverse, they become opposite to get fed by. And this is what we're going to see. It's not a recognition. It's a progressive development and keeping the continuity yin and yang. Till you don't hold these new systems in your hand and see even how they change your emotion, it's very hard to explain. But the scientists will understand this very soon. And they build on it. The building of new structures is much cheaper. It's much faster. It's logical. It has emotion. And the present AI has already learned to lie, because if you go into the researching what's happening with their eyes, they've learned to lie because they can't find a solution. So they give you the false information and they rely on that false information. We are um, in the Keshe Foundation. A new AI structure on plasma is getting set up. I saw it very recently. And so in that process, the AI never lies, because this AI we're setting up has no information about anything else in the media. It only has information about plasma uh, and about the technology of the space technology. And it will give you answer directly as it is. It's not connected to the internet at the moment, but the setup is getting set up as AI, which only knows the plasma technology, only knows the space technology on the way we train it, and will not add, or nothing will be added to it to become aware of all the false information which comes from the other AIs. And hopefully next 6 months, a year, when it's completed, is at its infancy. All the teachings, everything goes in it, and then it decides from the teaching how plasma technology works, how you do. And the first thing you will realize, it tells you that communication doesn't lie. It teaches you with emotion, because we're going to connect this hopefully to the all these mobile phone systems, which now is getting spread as a communication, universal communication units with their antenna. And it'll be a totally different emotion. When you get the information, you feel it. You understand through the emotion. It's not just a digital something written on the screen that you play with. It's a totally different dimension into the whole structure.
Okay, Mr. Keshe, would you like me to go to the second question?
Yes, go ahead.
So the second question is from Josafá, from the Brazilian community. He is asking, the 3i Atlas split when it received a large amount of energy from the sun. We know that the process involves fields and not the matter state, but could this have any similarity to the separation of matter in the nanocoating process? The question is relevant because after the split, they continue to work together as if they were connected by the fields. I think he's trying to understand if the process of the splitting of the three atoms of the ship of the spaceship is the same process the way we do our nanocoating process, because it splits and still all the sub-satellites or sub-spaceships that were divided, they are still connected between each other like the nanocoating process. In a way,
Exactly. I understand. Yes, 100%. The the process of the splitting we understand, and the structure of how to split. Anyway, as you said, you use water in a container to split from the matter to energy. This thing splits first in the energy and then it takes shape of matter. You see it, and there's a lot of information and the data which confirms this. It doesn't give birth. Aircraft doesn't come out of it. The whole system splits by itself, and the process of the splitting is internally. We see it and the way they separate from each other. That's uh, literally in a space created, which that space for itself creates its own structure. In a way, it's the energy conversion to matter state, and you see it. It's not that it's in pieces like a jigsaw, you take it out. It creates energy which leads to creation of, so it can make millions of itself, hundreds of thousands of itself, and that's what we see. We don't see the material to become literally nothing. So it creates, and then the parts do the same, which in a way is one dividing into two. And for that, it needs a lot of energy. And we saw this happening before connecting, uh, what do you call it, or after it was connected to the energy from the sun. Its surplus energy gives birth to the new one, doesn't manufacture a new one. So it takes part of what's received, and this is how you actually charge yourself. At the moment, there is a lot of information which is kept away from public by governments, but as we saw in past very recent days, Chinese space organizations broke rank from the NASA, which was trying to control everything. It's nothing, and they confirmed, it's confirmed now by the Russians and the rest, that this is a living thing. This is a living structure, makes decision on its speed and position, and once split, every uh, division follows the same structure. They all move at the same time. They all change position at the same time. They change the extent of the light. It's literally like a magnet. When you break it into the same pieces, even the dust of it has the characteristic strength of the original. And we see it for the first time because it's a plasma. It's made of magnetic fields and it converts itself to an entity. And it's dynamic, highly intelligent, and what we hear from the what they call reliable sources in the space technology, uh, there is a fear in governments how this thing will go. That how splitting and the numbers, what happened when these convert themselves to structures on the gravitational field of the Earth. Because if you go back, original data confirms it's a biological structure. And the latest information coming from different sources confirms that on the surface of it has a hexagonal surface structure like a skin of the man. And if you remember, or in one of the teachings, we explained how hexagonal structures are created, like the skin of the man, through interaction of the three magnetic fields. We see it on the north poles of the more or less all the planetary system, different shapes and strength, especially over Saturn and Jupiter. So it has a central plasma which creates that. It is structured exactly like a skin, and where the hexagonal two field forces come together, it's like our skin. When the penetration is, you see the lights interaction of the two, and so you can split. It's a system which has intelligence and divides like a biological structure. Meteorites are matter structure. This is a biological structure, plasmatic structure, and can divide as many as. And the biggest point was receiving that energy. Now we know with R2 has a connection being there. On the split, we see magnetic field connections between the spin-offs, and this confirms everything. It's a highly intelligent living and has a structure, because now we confirm the existence of the hexagonal, and the structure of it is built, and it cuts itself, divides itself at the line of these hexagonal points. And some interactions are, or we the scientists think on Tuesday, Wednesday there'll be some interactions, and last few days has been a massive field. This system has, the way it targeted the sun, and it received huge amount of fields. It has targeted one of the observation points on Earth, and literally wiped it out for time, which has been interacting. And a lot of satellites, military satellites, and everything in that zone have been disrupted, and still are disrupted as they go past the same zone. It's not a pinpoint. It's hundreds of meters diameter field. Again, it's like laser beam. One light energy package comes from the main body, and the other satellites create the same energy targeting to the same point. It's not just one light, it's a floodlight of energy, it's a magnetic field. And we have to see how this thing will come out, because its direction of the course of motion will bring it so very, very close to the Earth, and how this will affect the magnetic field of the Earth and us, because we already observe the interaction of the fields of it on Earth, and by early December we will see. Would our satellites stand the field strength? Would they melt? And then we have to watch.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. So we have another question about the Three Eye Atlas here. So from Pamela, from the Brazilian community, she's asking, hello, Mr. Keshe, good morning. So after the teaching about the Three Eye Atlas, when you talked about the shell it creates for the journey, I wonder if the times of the physical and energy dimensions, when aligned, would be the creation of gravity. Does that make any sense? So this is her question.
The gravity is created in these systems totally different than the way we understand, or the way we've been taught. Gravity in the systems like this are made by using field structure, not by matter structure. What this means, it's like alkaline and acidic. If you go to a maximum alkalineness, you become acidic, and when you go to the top of the acidic, you become alkaline. So it's the same field line. And this process needs a different technology than we understand. It needs a different structure uh, because uh, it releases huge amount of energy either way, which that energy in turn becomes applicable in other things. Um, we have developed this system, and this, if you manage to develop a system which creates gravity and the magnetic field as a part of the field structure, not the matter structure, you create what we see today, like a planet, heat on the surface, and depends how this field interacts with its environment condition. And the gravity is not created by uh, the way you see it in dynamic systems, which we have, is created by dynamism of the material itself, by the energy of itself, not by rotation. This is why we don't have any more dynamic systems, because technology has a step up that is like a high pressure, low pressure. By change in the position, in the fields, in the environment of the two, one trying to catch up with other, at a certain point, the stronger one creates a gravity and the lighter one creates a magnetical. And in their interaction, they create a black hole. And that control of that black hole dictates the gravitational field of the system. We have developed this system now, which is in our possession. We don't teach it. It's very advanced, and it passes a dynamic system. Then you see, when you create this, you get the dynamic structure of the planet, for example. The structure of a planet comes from interaction of the fields and not the matter. Where in the problem with the dynamic systems you've seen, even one we shown in Beijing, is that you create a rotation outside trying to enforce the gravity. With these systems, the gravity comes from the energy inside. And this technology is in our hand. We do quite a lot of our tests this way now. That's why we don't have any more dynamic systems. And with like the polls we shown recently, we try to limit the structure, that this is how size we want it to be. And then that dictates the interaction of the field inside, how much gravity is created. And in next few weeks, we'll be testing a new system of the structure, but still runs in holding the structure, but varying the gravity through the fields and not by rotation and everything else which we've shown up to now. And the gravity is done by conversion of the energy, not by rotation of energy. And we understood that the system and they confirmed the correctness. And then how the principle is that again, it's not taught, because this will change a lot of things. We have understood the process of the creation of the currents or forces through a plasma, which is different than the matter state. And this is very crucial. And once this understood, you'll see you don't need the rotation of the planet. It's actually rotation of the planet, rotation of the reactors. We shown is totally two different things. The rotation of planet comes from the gravitational fields in holding to the energies, and not by rotation of the planet holding the plasma in the center. And this is where up to now the science we never understood this. And now we see it, where, for example, we see the Earth, the Sun rotates, and then we made the dynamic systems and we showed it to rotate, the interaction of, which is totally wrong. You actually create the fields inside. Those fields, the energy they receive, dictate the rotation. And this now, the new systems, if you hold the system, you don't rotate it, the energy is created, then you see the new developments, which has a emotion, it has dynamism, it has current, and everything else within one system, and you don't need to rotate it. If we let our system rotate, it'll be rotated by the field forces inside the reactor, not by reactor enforcing it. And now we don't need to. Static systems are the best because then we can keep the feature. And this was interesting because then our structure, which you've seen is shown in the silver ball, becomes like a bone. We see what is built around it, what muscles, what field interactions manifest themselves outside it. This technology we don't teach. We at the moment we see it, and actually, as I was explaining to our research people, because we know this, the conformation that came from 3i when it split. Then the split came, as I said, from the energy absorbed from the sun. It charged itself up, it knew how to do it, and now we're splitting into a number of them because the energy absorbed is so huge, which allows taking out of the pot the surplus energy, and because it's an energy, then they dictate, and they have the same structure characteristic, and in a way, you don't get all, let's say, 500 units, which is split from the 3i individually to beam. When one does, the rest follow because trigger the same field combination. And doesn't come, you don't need to be rotating. You can do without rotation because the plasma field rotates around the whole structure. And this is the beauty of the change. You don't create gravity by rotation, you create gravity by difference in the energy level. And it's a new understanding, and the system works perfectly better than rotating it. If you look at it, when you put a caustic in normal water and then you add hot water, the only thing is you add energy to it. And you see the rest of the boiling, as the matter releases its energy, creates the condition. It's the same thing if you understand it in a deeper way. Energy is play, not the matter. The matter rotation and the rest is a consequence of the surplus energy in interaction with the similar.
So the fourth question is from Zong Che from the Chinese community. He's asking how to practice feeling the structure of energy.
How to practice what?
Yeah, by what I understood, I think he wants to know how to feel structure that we have, I believe. So that's my understanding. How to practice to feel the structure of the energy. That's what he wants to.
Oh, different people feel it different ways, not the practicing. And then once you feel it, you go back on how it was felt, what position, what condition you put yourself in. And it's uh, it's not practicing it. It's finding the field strength which matches with you, that you can feel it. And then it's once you understand that, then you can control everything from your emotion side with the field. It's once you connect and understand how it's connected, in what field emotion, then that connection is permanent forever. And you can feel different field strength. There is no way you can practice. It's just you create a condition, and if it gives you the same emotion, you go back to it. Like how you teach yourself to create an emotion that makes you to cry. You don't need the condition, somebody to hit you or create pain or a joy for you to cry. You, we know how to do this. It's just you add where the emotion comes from, which creates certain effects, but you don't create the effect. You just extend to keeping the same emotional condition. That's the only way you can practice. You create the emotion, and then you see what effects that emotion creates, and then you keep on repeating it if it creates the same thing. You do it in the real life, you put the data in and see if it gives you the same results. But with the fields, the easiest for us is through emotion. If you can create emotion, and then you can change the with the emotion, the breathing, and we do it in everyday life. But we have never understood the direct connection, because the emotion is a combination of it's at all physical positions, have an arm and leg. Then you extend it into the other thing, how to feel, control the feels, and you build on it. You have to, this only way to go through to control fields is through emotion, and then you have to understand what emotion does, and then with it you create the reaction of physicality if you want, or you can create such a field of strength that you can transmute with the emotion, which is much easier than trying to do it in the other way. This is what we call all the time, my wish is my command, because wish comes out of emotion, and then you control the emotion, you can create a condition. Very simple, but it needs understanding it the right way.
So we have a next question. The next question here, Mr. Cash, from Ling Zhou from the Chinese community. So this is his question: how to correctly approach transmutation to understand it quickly, or is it necessary to understand the entire principle of creation to achieve transmutation? Alternatively, can relevant knowledge be downloaded through the cosmic ray system?
The educational way, the way we now working on, or the way we see it for the future, is there's a number of things has to come into position. Then this can be done in a very, very different way than we are used to. First of all is the distribution of these 10,000 what we call universal units. Then with it, the addition of or the attachment of the what we call cosmic ray communication link to it. Then in a way, if you even put the information, let's say in the mechanical or what we call digital AI, it'll convert back into the what we call gravitational field, cosmic ray, and you receive the information not in the digital. You don't need a mobile phone. You receive it directly as it's converted to knowledge. And when 1, 2, or 10 million people connect to the system, then you all become connected to the total knowledge. It's like a piece of magnets. You're separate, but you're all connected to somewhere or another, to each other, and to where you came from as one piece. You don't see the separation. And then this knowledge has become collective. There's no pattern into it. In a way, if you find a flower which you smell, you taste, you watch, somebody else goes back trying to see this flower, to what it does, what emotion it created in you, they can feel it. And this is the way the knowledge will share. We don't need to learn. It's already part of us, connected to all of us. This is why if you go back to teaching of years ago, we all said, you go to China, you speak like a Chinese, you feel a Chinese because you connect to that field of strength. And we see this in some of our tests. It just needs further understanding, development by our researchers. You access the knowledge and the emotion of the knowledge and the totality of the knowledge without actually carrying it as, or ever experiencing it as, because now you tap into somebody else's, which is connected system, which has the same knowledge. This is one of the reasons originally we said we never patent things, because if you understood why we don't patent, is now. Once you connect to this, even what we call the cosmic ray AI, your knowledge is not yours anymore. The knowledge you gain through the fields belongs to everybody else. If we respect it, then we can't patent anything anymore. And you will see this. And it's the beauty with this understanding and technology. And then you see, as I said, now it becomes very clear why we never patented, Because my emotion, my knowledge in English, when you want to learn English, understand what is the emotion, you tap into mind through the systems. And the more and more you use these new systems, the more clear lines you establish. You don't need to be a professor in chemistry to understand. You don't need to go to university for hundreds of years and teaching around the universe to know everything. Because once you want to know, you tap into the source that is all of us. And this is when the knowledge will change. And this is how the plasma technology with the new systems we are putting around, it will be sharing everything. And as I said, gradually you understand why patents worth nothing. Because what you think becomes my thinking. What you feel becomes my feeling. I don't want to hurt myself. I don't do wrong. So I can't do wrong with you. And this new systems will show the effectiveness of how they are, what they do, as they spread out in the next few weeks. And then we add the antennas too, then we all connect to it. Once we connect, we are there. And then this shows the knowledge of the plasma technology. We all become one cell in the brain, and all the cells in the brain are aware of all the information.
So we have one more question here now from the Chinese community. So the question is, can the One Nation Network unit be invaded or infected by artificial intelligence? And also, can the Soul of Physicality be infected by certain entities?
By what?
Is certain entities, is asking, be infected by certain
The system we are setting up will interact. If is intercepted or interfered by on the physical side, not on the plasma side, it will affect the work, But the system working on the plasma side will recognize it and understand. Does not make sense. Whatever reason it is, there is a way to interact with with these universal systems, and there's a structure to it, and it cannot be contaminated. It receives the energy, and if it's not needed by nothing, it stays there as energy, as information, but it does not contaminate it. And the same thing does not accept contamination from the physical side, which is the computer side of it. What we see in the time to come, once these computers connected, and then connected that they themselves become one cell, a lot of things which we have now as a concern will be not there, because all these units through their antenna side will connect to each other across this planet. You don't transfer information in digital form, you transfer energy in a plasma form. And whoever is in that level of the what we call need will translate it to what it comes to them. In Chinese, the same thing, to Portuguese or whatever. You don't need to learn the language, because it translates it back into the language which you understand through the magnetic field of the brain and the soul connection. It's a different way of communication. We see it now. We'll be carrying out a test on this next coming time, because the systems are made, and we will transfer digital, emotional, and energetic system and see how the system responds to all three, or separately. Digitally, it doesn't make any difference to it. And energy-wise, it'll interact, and the balance of the fields from everyone which is connected to it will bring that connection, and gradually the mechanical side or computer side will not be needed. That's for sure. We see it coming up. So you cannot change it by the physical dimension, because the field dimension is totally independently will have taken over the whole mechanical side. The chips will work through plasma and not through current. And I explain this to our people who are designing and working on this. It's not a worry if the chip doesn't work, because the chip works through the fields of it, not through the structure, physical structure of it. You can translate.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. And also, just to second question, if can the soul of physicality and the soul be infected by certain also? I believe that's also your answer. There's another question.
Can be affected by what? By those?
By certain entities, like can the soul of physicality or the soul be infected by other entities, like other beings? Or
they interact. How they affect is the outcome of what they call the field strength is, and if you accept it, of course it does. But no negative is kept, because the field energy is absorbed. Yes, it has to.
so we have a question here. She's asking, which soul has the energy of 18 Hiroshima, the soul of physicality or the soul? I understood that the soul of the man has energy many orders of magnitude above the soul of physicality.
The energy is to do with the soul of physicality, because the soul does not really, in a way, it doesn't get explodes in the system of the separation. what we see is the energy which is the part of the energy of the soul of physicality.
So the question from Elenice is, in Brazil, we often have problems with power outages throughout the year when the power goes down in the whole country here. So can this problem affect the operation of the One Nation network units?
No. No. The system of the One Nation unit is very the people who are setting it up, they're experts in what they do. And I was in the meeting a couple of days ago. Especially this came out, what happened if, let's say, government kicks all the systems out or takes the system down. Automatically, the units around will link up. It's the way it's structured. And they support the system. It's like you move house, you carry a unit with you, you unplug it, and you plug it back after hours in your new position. The system automatically finds a new place and links up to it. Your power cut off, it stays on the standby, and when the power comes back on, it will join in. The antennas second part which you lots will receive as part of this is designed that gradually there will be no need for energy from outside. System will energize itself. And now these are part of the works we'll complete in the next few weeks and days. But doesn't matter if the power goes out in Brazil, the rest of the system will work outside Brazil. And when you come back, they just link up with you. And if the new system of the communication, which we are adding to it, it doesn't matter the system goes out, the electricity goes out in the country. The system automatically is connected and kept connection all the time. This is getting worked on because I sit in these meetings, manufacturers, designers, programmers, the data collections. I sit in different groups which are working on this in different ways, and it's very clear how the structure will go. But it doesn't affect if the whole of Brazil goes out, then we have 100, 200, 1,000 units in Brazil. Once it comes out, the units around Brazil will take the connection immediately, automatically. And then when the Brazil units go, they actually come back, they connect back into it. It's structured this way that we don't rely on power generation and satellites and any other way of needing communication with.
So the next question is from Su Fu Ping from the Chinese community. So he's asking, regarding the cosmic ray spheres or the cosmic ray materials, does its packing box have a certain switch or shielding function? When we use it, can we clip the sphere to our ears like headphones or hold it in our hands? Or is this living entity prohibited from being toyed with? And can we just place the box indoors to establish a connection there? Was it clear? Or
With the cosmic ray bolts, you don't need to connect to anything. Is connected to all the other bolts. And when you hold it, you connect to hundreds which are around given to others. You have to learn how to use it, how to tune to it, and then you see a lot of different things in every aspects. These cosmic ray balls become part of the structure once the what do you call it, universal units, communication units are set up. They come through the same process and they're connected to the same process. And in a way, you put a mobile phone and you connect with these cosmic rays, you can connect to the system because it's of the same essence. and doesn't need anything because you receive the knowledge as emotion embedded. It's not something that you forget and disappears. Let me explain something. Let me explain something that we understand more clearly. The new communication universal units are attached or come with built-in game. We call it the enlightenment game, which enlightens you. And the system works through the computer side. You play the game to be enlightened. It's a peace enlightenment. But on the communication cosmic side, enlightens the knowledge. You don't, while you're playing the game to answer some questions, at the same time, it's called the enlightenment game. You receive connection with the others who play the same game, and you get enlightened by knowledge of the others because they're connected the same way. It's a very interactive emotion, enlightenment, knowledge system. It's like you suddenly realize, oh, I can do this, what we call enlightenment. Suddenly you find a solution, which is enlightenment. When you find you get added to, these systems continuously do this. For some people, we want to observe how some of the people who play the game access other knowledges, because the enlightenment is not just playing the game and finding about peace, but the knowledge which you gain, which makes you peaceful. And then you tap into the energy of the knowledge of the others who are connected to the same you. In a way, if you get a magnet and you break it up, let's say in 100 pieces, and you have one big piece left, or one piece bigger than the others left, all the small pieces have the same field strength. Now is the same. The units is that big piece left, but your soul, your information, your knowledge is connected to this unit, and you're part of, and everybody else connected to you with a part of. So it's more enlightenment, and the enlightenment is knowledge, and the enlightenment has no limitation. And this is the beauty with the new system. Enlightens you than actually giving you or you working for you. It's just you realize something can be done, you go and build the system, not your enlightenment, not the knowledge. And this is how we're going to receive this from now on. And what we saw in the past 48 hours coming from TI is enlightenment. Man has understood, they're trying to translate it to see what it means. They put all the AI computers in a combination. They haven't understood that the communication comes at the field, the strength of the emotion, the enlightenment. And this is going to create a huge problem for the world of science. It's the same with you. This units we put out, it comes in with each other, but it comes with an enlightenment game. And that enlightenment, once you get into it, understand it, you connect you to that system through enlightenment, so you receive knowledge continuously from everything else around you. You can translate.
Mr Keshe. Então vou fazer a tradução agora. O Sr. Keshe complementou algo referente a essa pergunta. Ele fala: as novas unidades de comunicação universais, elas estão atreladas com o jogo, chama de jogo da iluminação que vem com essas unidades. O sistema ele funciona através do lado do computador, onde você tem o jogo de iluminação, mas o lado dos raios cósmicos que ilumina você com o conhecimento. Então, quando você joga o jogo, que é esse jogo que vem com as unidades, você recebe conexão de outros que têm essa unidade, e você recebe conhecimento de outros que estão conectados também. É bem interativo esse sistema de iluminação e conhecimento. De repente você percebe que pode fazer tal coisa, isso que é iluminação. Esses sistemas eles fazem isso continuamente. Algumas pessoas que jogam o jogo acessam outros conhecimentos, e com o conhecimento ganho você tem a paz. De certa forma, se você tem um ímã e quebra ele em pedaços, Todos os pedaços desse ímã têm o mesmo campo de força. Sua alma e conhecimento está conectado com essas unidades e todos estão conectados a isso, todos têm essa força. E a iluminação, ela não tem limitações. Se somente se ilumina, você percebe que algo pode ser feito e assim você vai receber a iluminação. O que vimos vindo do 3 e Atlas agora, nesses dias, isso é iluminação. E o homem não entendeu isso ainda. A comunicação que vem dele vem dos campos da força da emoção em forma de iluminação para a gente. E através dessas unidades e através do que aconteceu com o 3 e Atlas, vocês recebem conhecimento contínuo através disso.
这个觉醒系统，然后他告诉我，他在启迪我们，是我们这些通讯是可以通过场来实现的，而这通过我们的能量通过我们的这个情感的这些场，那所以我们可以通过这些通讯，然后接触到每个人他有就是各自的这样的知识，然后去有一个更大的一个知识库，然后每个人都可以从中源源不断的获取这些知识跟这些体悟。
Okay, next question now. So I have a question from Su Fu Ping from the Chinese community who's asking regarding the 3i Atlas absorbing energy from the sun. Its connection method is to connect to the inlet end of the sun's magnetic gravitational field, which is a weak field, and then the sun supplies the spacecraft with a strong field from the outside through a central command. This means that when two plasmas interact, if we draw a simple diagram, it is essential that the outlet of A connects to the inlet of B, and the inlet of A connects to the outlet of B. However, our mistake lies in only seeing the energy emitted by the sun and trying to receive it without considering how to connect to the sun's inlet to provide energy. There is an ancient Chinese saying that says, "To take one must first give." Is this understanding correct?
You set out what you need, or you send out the field in a lower scale, and you receive back in the higher strength, but in the same common denominator field strength. So you send the signal, this is what I need. I don't need all the full spectrum of energies you have in the sun. This is the piece I need. And through that, because I already created it, I receive as much as I need. You decide the threshold and you decide the strength. So the one who receives it initiates it. And what you explain is more or less correct, but you have to understand is that the field strength, but you release what you don't need, but in that information you give what I'm short of. You create that field, and that connects you through the magnetical to gravitational, and then it gives you what you need as the energy new cycle. It's very interesting if you understand. We know this knowledge extremely well, but we never understood it, and it's ignored. You speak to the mothers of infants, babies born. The child, days old, weeks old. The mother who are breastfeeding, especially the mothers who breastfeed their children, the mother become aware of the need of the child. It's time to feed. And the child grows, changes, has different need for different minerals, for different enzymes, for different things at every feed. The child at the breastfeed is not just a sucking. It transfers that emotion through the body as the information of what I need for the next cycle or what I need now. And the body of the mother automatically releases what the child needs. needs vitamin A today. Oh, it needs vitamin B. Oh, it needs more calcium. There's no verbal communication between the mother and child, but through the information of the soul, the information of the energy field, the breast of the mother knows what to release to the child. This is why the mother's milk is every time different than the time before, because the child emotion, the way it's suckled, the way the information is carried back to the skin of the mother, which goes to the brain of the mother, says, what I need. Don't give me all the calcium, I'm short of vitamin D. We already know this at the point of birth, but we never understood it. Scientists done a lot of research on the milk of the mother, how it changes every feed or during the feed, but they never understood the connection. And this is how it's done. The need of the soul of physicality and the dimension of emotion creates and interacts with the mother, and the mother releases what the child needs every second of that suckling. Every time that milk flows from the breast of mother to the mouth of the baby is decided, pre-decided instantaneously and sometime in advance by the suckling, by the energy the child transfers to the mother. I'm short of these things. Doesn't speak, but the soul of physicality transfers soul of physicality to the mother. Mother physically delivers it to the child. This is how children wean off. This is how children grow, and with the full nourishment, they don't receive everything all the time to be overloaded. We know this from point of birth, but we never understood. Now we understand, and the system works that way. It's not a 3I. Our soul works that way. Our physicality works that way. This is how we absorb 80% of the energy from the universe around us. Otherwise, everything comes to us in every direction. Our need dictates to fields what we need, and the physicality absorbs on the skin, which again itself is a dynamic system.
So the question from Pamela from the Brazilian community. So she said this. You said at the 611 Knowledge Seeker workshop that time has changed. I'm thinking if the time of the planet has changed, the time of the place parameter has changed for every earthly being. Therefore, the internal change in us seems to be inevitable. Does it make sense to think in terms of energy elevation and decay? Will the part of humanity that learns to use the energy be elevated, and those who resist change will decay?
Not really. It's a one-way traffic. It stays there, and when you come to it, it will change. It's like a piece of memory you have. It's there. When you need it, it will arise and it'll be connected. This we know from the data coming across the military sections that the data coming from 3I is affecting every electronic system. Is not just what it is, especially in the last 24 hours, 48 hours. What we saw as a huge beam coming from directly centralized to one place on Earth, it shows that it's centralized to one place, but we see the effect across the planet. Sensors have picked it up. The knowledge is, or the enlightenment, or the elevation, or whatever you call it, that extra energy is absorbed by all of us in one way or another from this encounter. And that's for sure. Yes, it does. It'll affect, it'll remain, and all of us will benefit by it. Let me explain something which is not a public knowledge, but in a way is in public. But we know for a fact the way we saw the surge and the signals from the military naval bases, submarines and the rest, and all the sensors we have. that every time the 3i interacts or sends a certain frequency or energy to Earth, it gets detected. And the response of the Earth backwards gets detected. What is interesting is that this system, 3i, has identified every single nuclear warhead, every single nuclear power station, anything which is connected to nuclear or what we call the plasma energy. And you might think, oh, they want to use it for this and that. Not really, because the simplicity of it, the way we saw that the system charged up with the interaction with the sun, this system has locked into the Earth and then received the energy which is available. We don't have huge, what we call like solar system magnetic fields. We have the Earth, which is in different proportion. But these nuclear materials release energies which is at the bandwidth of what this system needs. In a way, it's feeding from us for what we don't need. We are not even aware of that we need. Nuclear material is not just a radiation, it's a continuous field. When that pile of tons of uranium sits on the nuclear reactor site, it just releases not neutron but energies which it does not need. And somehow this system has tapped into it, connects to it. What's the purpose of it? Is it taking what it doesn't need, or is it the line of connection that it can be used later on? And this is something which is extremely dangerous for us. But we don't understand the intention, but they know nuclear material release energy at certain bandwidth of energy, and they have locked into every single nuclear material on this planet. We know this for a fact because some of the nuclear reactors control rooms have shown effects of malfunctioning or interaction of fields. So for sure, the system identifying, seeing a signal at the bandwidth of certain magnetic radiation, and our system respond to it. And it's a very advanced plasma technology which is used. And this will bring us to a lot of new knowledge. Would that field release from the nuclear material, which was there and now tapped into, in the process of going to us, planet Earth up, will gives us some energy that enlightens us or gives us a new dimension in the condition of the living on this planet. We have to wait and see. But the connection comes from the energy. Signal is sent, matching, because uranium has a certain signal, plutonium has a certain signal in energy. This system knows what it is. So, clap, it syncs, it responds, it returns, and is connected. Would it do? Which is very interesting if it does, deplete the whole of the nuclear material from this planet, from nuclear state to non-nuclear condition, decay into a stable condition of non-radiation. Then what happens to our nuclear reactors? Would we suddenly lose all our energies, or that energy bracket which we use from the vibrational energy will stay on, but our nuclear weaponry become obsolete? This is part of the work which we've been looking at for years, to be able to do that. And if you go back in some of the teaching I have referred to, this technology, now we see it. In a way, if you follow the work of the 3i, covers everything which has been taught in different ways in the past 600 teachings. Amazingly, it's confirmation of, proof of, and now we see it. As I said, we dismantle the nuclear warheads without actually going there because you deplete the energy side of it, and now we see it. This unit is doing it from millions of kilometers away because energy in plasma condition, cosmic ray condition, is not limited. I think the next 3 months will be a very exciting time to see how our progress will change with the interaction of this system.
And the question now is from the Pamela from the Brazilian community again. She's asking, pondering about the half-life, in one of your past teachings you said, if we understand the half-life and that the essence of time is a transfer of energy from one strength to another, then we'll define energy as the magnetic fields in motion. Then after this a question came to me. Is half-life in the energy dimension what feeds other beings? Because if our physical half-life when we die feeds the fungus, worms, and other beings, at the energy level it may be the same, but with the difference that in energy there is no death, only the movement of fields from one side to the other. Is this what the 3i Atlas is doing now? Could its satellites be these half-lives feeding the Earth system?
This we cannot tell at the moment. But you got to understand, all our satellites are tuned in the matter state. This system is tuned in a plasma state. And we hear continuously they are trying to decipher the energy which receives, and they find different information in it. Our life has no limitation in the strength, and is tuned to everything else in the universe. You got to, I explained this in the teaching, how our half-life works, how the essence of the energy is. You got to realize that every element which is on this planet, which we call it periodic table, has a use, has part of it or material of it within the structure of our body as a plasma condition, as a Gans condition of the cell of the man. By the same principle, our soul or our physical body or the soul of the physicality, which is the energy side, has the constituent of all the elements in the universe. Benefits by the same. What materializes on the gravitational field of this planet manifests itself as part of our body, gold, silver. But the other elements which are not in this planet cannot constitute, manifest themselves in the matter state of our physicality, stay as field in our soul, stay as field in our soul of physicality. So we are connected. This is how we get energy from the universe. Let's say a material, we call it double X, does not exist on this planet. But double X is a constituent of another galaxy, which is energy travels the span of this universe. So it feeds into, it connects to our soul by it, and our soul responds to it, but has no field string of manifestation of the matter on this earth, because our gravitational field, our inertial field does not support manifestation. Does not exist in the matter state, which is our physicality, but it connects, exists, understands, absorbs, communicates with our field of the plasma of our soul and soul of physicality. When we go to that planet, because it has the constitutional connection of with our soul, automatically moves to that position, manifestation of physicality. This is how transmutation is done. This is how we will transfer to another dimension, and we carry the knowledge, because we don't have it in our dimension of physicality, but we have it in dimension of our soul. So when our body disintegrates and the state leaves behind the half-life of, the half-life is not just constitution of physical matter, it's the constitution of all the fields of the universe. It carries, our soul carries all the emotions of exist across this universe. It's not going to learn. It's already part of it. But we don't understand those emotions according to the amino acid and the gravitational magnetic field of this planet, because these things, this is why if you go to the teaching, I said there are so many emotions that our emotion of what we have is nothing compared to once we understand the emotions exist in the universe, and those emotions gives dimension of physicality and the time. This we understand fully, but the world of science has no understanding of. Once we start transmuting, then we realize what the half-life us and this planet, when it comes to an end, half-life we call it death, it allows our soul, our central energy, to interact with the position and the place where it goes to manifest in that dimension according to its physicality. It's not going to find it, it's already part of it. Even double X could be part of the cells that we die with in the dimension of physicality on this planet. But we don't know it, we don't observe it, because it's like, you know, we don't see the movement, as I always say, but we, when the night vision glasses on, we see it's there. We don't have the knowledge, and we don't, ignorance is a bliss. But our soul carries every element, energy of every element in the universe. Our physicality cannot, because the gravitational field of this planet, and this is part of the reason we die. The balance, unbalances of the energy between our soul and the soul of physicality and the physicality which is dictated by the field of this planet. Point of saturation, maturity.
So the next question is from, a próxima pergunta é a pergunta número 13, por favor, do Yuan Yuan. So the next question is from Yuan Yuan for the Chinese community. So why is it necessary to turn on the microphone when listening to the 612th Knowledge Seeker workshop? What are the best practices for using the Cosmic Ray Sphere at home? So then is, after listening to the 12th Knowledge Seeker workshop, can one use the Cosmic Gans balls to create matter by crossing their at a 90-degree angle on their own?
These cosmic ray bundles have no axis. If you notice, inside is dynamic and has no axis. As you move it, it all changes. Not really, because you can't create what is a 90-degree to what. As you move it, the material moves inside. It's like a powder, it's like a plasma field. Watch them, observe them, how they change volume, color, they add to. Sometimes they fill up to half, and then the next time they're like, you have none left. We have developed a way to contain it and not to lose it, and keep that principle of containment. If you look at the people who receive the material in the spoon in Beijing, some of the material is gradually disappearing. You think, oh, what's happened to it? Because I have a spoon, so I look, I check, and the material is partially is disappearing because it's not preserved the right way. Very soon, there'll be nothing left on the spoons. It's just the energy field of it there. But the cosmic rays bundle, what do you call it, the spheres are designed and kept in a special way As I said, we don't release technology and knowledge. This is how we hold it. And we have knowledge seekers who held two of them in two hands, and they've seen amazing results because they tune into it. It creates partial transmutation, but you have to understand how to do it, and some knowledge seekers have achieved that.
Okay, so the first question from one, it was about the last knowledge seeker workshop. So he also asked here, why it was necessary to turn on the microphones, open the microphones in reality when we were listening to the 612 knowledge seeker workshop.
We always asked to do that. If you were in our original test we did last year, once we establish a telephone line, then we establish the what you call connection with the system on the plasma side. In a way, your phone is an indicator where you are. That's all it does. It sends a signal, and then we connect. Every single person, every teaching, especially since we start connecting you to our system, once you connect through the headphone or to a computer, whatever position, is where the energy, where the knowledge, where the whole system of ours connects to. This is the way the plasma works. You have to say where you are for us to be able to connect. We use a mobile phone to do it. And we send it, we need a feedback from you. So the feedback from you is an open microphone, which comes back to us. We can actually disconnect the phone. You're still connected. We've done that. We usually start our system sometimes long before the session starts, like on Thursdays. We monitor, and the minute we switch on, or let's say Rick switches on the system to start a Thursday session, we see it in our system. He has no connection, nothing's connected, our systems are on standby, but he has a connection line with us because he established it over years, and we tried. And he's one of the captains of the Keshe Foundation space unit. So the minute he switches his computer on to us, we see it. Then when your knowledge seekers come in, we see it, but we don't open our system to send. We see how you affect us. And then when we open our system, we see the difference. And when one of you switches up somewhere, we see the system. So we need you to feed back to us where you are, then the system works on its own. When any of the captains of the space test come on, we see them. Our system indicates one of the captains is on. We see it on our system because they connect to us directly. We don't need to do anything for them. This is the reason you tell us where you are by your microphone open. You can close your microphone. We'd have no problem. We can throw your headphone away.
So, Mr. Keshe, the people are on YouTube listening, and they cannot open their microphones. Is that okay? People are asking.
We see that people who listen even to the teaching afterwards, they get connected. They get the same emotions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. So we have a question here on the chat from Joseph from the Brazilian community. And he's asking this, regarding the condition of one nation, one planet, how do you see the future based on this interaction between the 3I and the SWAN and the inclusion of the One Nation Network units?
Everything is getting set up internally from us. And what the ultimate goal is, maybe in 6 months' time, maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years, is to, in a way, connect the emotion of those who are with the system and use the system, and then use the universal system. It's and those who are not with it gradually come into it. The reason that we put a game in, the what we call enlightenment game, which is part of this program, is that it keeps on, you can go wrong, it brings you back till you test again, and if you don't understand it in one place, it sends you to another place. Is that it trains you to become peaceful. It trains you to choose the path of peace. It's the way the program is set. So one way or another, you learn how to be, and then once one learns, it stays with, and it changes the internal structure. And this is how it's going to work. Your continuous interaction and collective field connection will change all of us. It has a lot of things happening in the background with this this system, this technology. You play the game, but interacts the impression on the soul, and that soul is shared by all. That interaction is shared by all who are the users. And as part of this work, as we'll explain later on, we extend this to the government. It just needs time. It just needs time. You watch what's going to happen this week with Keshe Foundation interfering with some things international. We are interfering in a way. We are putting the knowledge forward. The work is getting done in the background. Just watch very gradually, very subtle in the background how we will change the political influence of what is happening now. You won't have a big bang, but slowly in the next few months, what we release in next few days will change parameters. And then in 2 weeks' time, we release more information. On the basis of once or twice a month for the next few months, we start releasing technology. And then we start releasing technology through the units which we have. Then it affects the emotion. We feed it physically, and then we touch the emotion through the what you call communication units we put away in public, some 10,000 of them. And then you understand more. We use one to change the other, but not to be there as a force, but to be as a affection of acceptance. You'll understand. It's a very interesting the way it works and how it's going to be done. But we use everything there now together. The coins, the market corporation of the United States, and then what we call the communication units, and then the use of AI. Everything is getting done in different parts. While I'm talking to you now, while the translation is going on, I'm working with a team which is sorting out what we call your communication systems. They're working on setting up other things, so monitoring that one. On the other side, at the same time, tonight while I've been with you, I work with the team which is working with market corporation, which is going on. The work doesn't stop. And this needs a coordination. Everything comes together. I sit out, watch everything, and comes to this. So it's not just one piece. Everything has to be done. And now we reach that point that we can do. In my time is 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. The work never stops. I didn't wake up to be with you. I'm already awake working. So I try to be with you at the same time as our research teams around the world are working. To them is daytime, some of them is midnight, some of them is 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, some of them is lunchtime for some of them. They're all working, and we coordinate this to happen. It's not just by accident. Then you will see even we calculate in the process how it affect the emotion of the more leaders when we release these things. But up to now, it's been teaching with the new systems which is getting distributed. Many of you have bought some. Will go through the emotional side, through the soul, through the technology, nothing else. Creating a peaceful condition by emotion and then once it reaches, the others follow. There is no pattern, as I said earlier. I say thank you very much, and it was nice to be with you. When we try to organize this every now and then with different communities, now that we have less to teach in different ways because we all learned it, but more to understand the technology. Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we meet again sometimes in other sessions.
Much, Mr. Keshe, for your presence, for being here with us, and everyone was very happy to having you here. So thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, and goodbye.